What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. We have a special one for you today. It's October 15th. We are doing the Player Prop Show, and we are joined by our special guest, theFellowJGM. Jesse, how are we doing this morning?
Hello. Fall is in the air.
I guess it's officially the afternoon here in the Central Time Zone, but it's a cool, brisk, like 50 degrees here. It's nice and sunny though, so I'm as far as forecasting for tomorrow's Packer game, it should be about 50 degrees and probably kind of overcast. But it's officially fall. Happy sweetest day to everybody out there as well. And basically, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go over our favorite player prop bets this week. Jesse, we need to get our best props in there because we are super close to going over 50% on the season. I've been tracking these. And last year we did decent. Last year we did go 62 for 111. That's about 56%, which I think that's a pretty solid number if you're betting long season here. And basically we're 2 games under 500 here. So we're gonna try and get our best effort in this week. And let's just get into it. We're gonna probably try and spend maybe 2 minutes per game. Tampa Bay Steelers. There's a ton of people out for the Steelers here. I think you want to lean into the passing props for Tampa Bay. Should we look at the Tom Brady line first? It's about 2.5 touchdowns. So people are kind of taking the under here. They think he's going to get 2, which I kind of agree with. And then you see 287.5 yards. But I'm kind of interested in Kenny Pickett. What do you think about the Pickett numbers here?
Yeah, I think in general this is a game that should, game script for the Bucs running a lot in the second half, and Kenny Pickett trying to play a comeback. Maybe this is a game where they just kind of say, all right, Kenny, look, we're playing against Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. Just go out there, throw, try and get some rhythm down. And 236.5 is not a terrible line.
I'm trying to think, what did he do against Buffalo? I mean, Tampa Bay they should have more success against Tampa Bay than Buffalo. The dude threw for 327, 52 pass attempts. I doubt that they get to 52, but I can see it in the low 40s maybe. So just based on pure volume, I'm interested in the Kenny Pickett over touchdowns. People are taking the 1.5. I don't know. I kind of think that he didn't throw any last week. Maybe he's due for a couple this week, but we'll see. But overall, I'm not trying to get too excited about the Pickett numbers here. But I do like Tom Brady probably over his 287. Again, a lot of the Steeler players are out. And if you look at on thefantasyfellowship.com, we have the points allowed to the position. Steelers allowing a ton of fantasy points to the quarterback position. They've allowed almost 1,500 yards in 5 games. So that's basically 300 yards per game. So that one does intrigue me. Let's take a peek at let's look at the rushing receiving props here. I tend to not care about the rushing abilities of either team here. Does anything stick out for you? Maybe Rachaad White, just because garbage duty, but what do you think? I might have lost him. That's okay. We'll go over this. The Steelers do say they want Jaylen Warren more involved, and he has been the last couple of weeks. But keep in mind, last week, Buffalo versus Pittsburgh, that game was kind of a blowout. They got a lot of opportunity for their backups. I think James Cook got some run. So maybe Rachaad White to get over his 18.5. I think that's an interesting one. You back with us, Jesse?
Yep.
We're back. I was talking about, as far as the rushing props, I think they're all kind of gross. Like Pittsburgh can't run. I do expect Jaylen Warren to be more involved. But Rachaad White, interesting guy. I think he could kind of hit that 18.5 in the second half of the game if Tampa Bay's up by 2 or 3 scores. Did you have any thoughts on the rushing props?
Yeah, no, they've been using Rachaad White a lot in the second half of games. A lot in the passing game, actually. So if he had maybe under 30 rushing or receiving, that could be an interesting line.
What he's been doing the last couple games. He has not hit that at all this season. So maybe we look at his receiving line instead.
I think a total, a combine would be.
Sure.
13.5 on Rachaad White. See, that's a good number.
What's your favorite? I mean, Pickens at 46.5. I mean, if you had to start one Pittsburgh receiver this week, which are you starting? Pickens? Are you starting Deontay? Probably not starting Claypool, but I'm thinking it's Pickens for me in terms of the pecking order of who I'd rather start in my lineup.
Yeah, I mean, if I can get 13.5 extra, give me 13 extra yards for Pickens on the over/under, that's pretty good. He's been getting targets. I mean, he wanted more targets, he got them.
He's been really solid. And no Pat Freiermuth in this one, so even Claypool is kind of low-hanging fruit. I don't recommend it, but I like Pickens the best for a receiver line here. Jaylen Warren's been getting more and more active, so he's kind of interesting.
Mike Tomlin said it.
Go ahead.
I said Mike Tomlin said it. He wants to get Jalen. You're going to see more Jalen as the year goes on. So
yep,
it's kind of going to be like that low-hanging fruit early in the season until people catch up.
people are leaning into that one at minus 120 here. In terms of the Buccaneers receivers, I mean, Chris Godwin at 59.5 seems pretty low hanging fruit to me. I even saw Tom Brady wearing a Chris Godwin t-shirt at one of his press conferences this week. I think it's a Godwin week. I feel pretty confident about that one to hit 60. Mike Evans, I don't know. I'd rather take a Mike Evans touchdown than I think his yardage prop, but anything else stick out for the yards?
Yeah, this is going to be a Travis Kelce, 3 catches, 2 touchdowns, 15 yards for Mike Evans kind of week, and Godwin's going to have 100. So I think Godwin's a smash play. Steelers are like one of the worst teams against receivers.
I mean, people are smashing the over 5.5 on Godwin reception. So if he gets 6 catches, like he's going to hit that 60-yard, no problem. People also hitting the Leonard Fournette at 3.5 catches, minus 170. That they're just smashing that, and then people smashing the Rachaad White. So if Rachaad White gets his 2 catches, he should hit his 13.5. I think that seems pretty reasonable. People also taking the Mike Evans 4.5. But let's just take one quick peek at the touchdown props, and then we can move on to a probably more competitive game. Fournette, probably a good bet to score. We do like Mike Evans to score. Chris Godwin, though, at plus 125 seems kind of juicy.
Yeah, plus 125. I think, like I said, I mean, I think this is a Godwin week. I think he can get one of those like 15, 20-yard touchdowns. So,
and then well, we're probably expecting Tampa Bay to score at least 3 touchdowns in this game. So the top 3 guys all in play for me. Maybe Rachaad White down there. And then if any Steeler were to score, are we taking Pickens, or are we probably just not caring?
I don't think I can trust the source of the touchdown unless it's on the goal line and Najee punches it in, you know.
My ultimate sleeper stash, if you got the money and you want to burn it, Kade Otten, plus 320 for a touchdown. Rookie tight end's been getting more involved. He had 6 for 43 last week. Playing pretty well. Definitely someone you want to check out and see if he's available in dynasty leagues. But let's move on to the 49ers and the Falcons. Kind of a similar, not so fun game to the Patriots and to the Bucs and the Steelers. But 49ers, Falcons, what do you want to look at first? Let's just pop into these touchdowns real quick. Jeff Wilson's been fantastic. I mean, do you think he scores? I think he scored 2 straight games. Is he one you want to tap here?
Yeah, minus 135. That's, you know, it's similar to Lenny for me, you know. Should be the guy. They're going to score probably 2-3 touchdowns.
Is it George Kittle week?
Dude, I thought it was George Kittle week last week. He caught 3 passes in the first 2 drives, and then he just got.
Well, I'm gonna keep saying it's George Kittle week until it happens. So then we'll eventually be right. But I'm open into that. You can only, I mean, Wilson and Debo are the clear favorites to score a touchdown, but I do think there's a good possibility for Kittle to get his. As far as the Falcons, I think we're not even going to bother on that one.
Did they score a touchdown this week? Olamide Zacchaeus touchdown.
They'll get something stupid. It'll be the backup tight end, I'm sure, or Avery Williams. Do we care about the passing prop? Like, is this game touchable as far as like player props, or do we just not care?
Yeah, I mean, I think the market's got it right. I mean, do we see Jimmy G getting 2 touchdowns? Probably not. It's probably going to be 1 pass, 2 rush, and like a defensive touchdown or something like that.
I was looking at some of these player props last night, and as far as like, I don't care about the rushing props. I do think Jeff Wilson's probably going to get enough volume where he can hit his prop, but you really can't touch anything else. On drafters.com, they had Algier up at 48, so I took the under on that one. That just seems too high for me. Like he's going to need 10, 12 carries to even think about that, and it's a pretty good front. But the one that I like is Mr. Kittle here at 41.5. That seems a little too low. I'd rather do that one than his touchdown bet, I think. And people are kind of leaning into that one. Any of the other ones stick out for you here?
Yeah, Kittle good there. I mean, Ayuk, unfortunately, Jimmy G doesn't look his way enough. Debo at 61.5. You know, I mean, it seems like they've started to go less on the run game with him. I mean, he's still getting a couple carries, but it's less than where it was and where we expected it to be with Trey Lance. So interesting number, but yeah, I think Kittle's the safe one. He should, you know, he'll start hitting his 50-yard consistency weeks. You know,
4 for 50 is kind of like his baseline, I think, going forward. Receptions, people are smashing Brandon Ayuk over 3.5 and the Kittle over 3.5. So what I usually, when I do this, I'm looking. We should almost just start at the receptions because I want to look and see who's smashing their overs, and then you can lean into the yards if you like that more too. So I think both those guys are in play. Drake London 4.5. I don't know if I love that. Jawan Jennings, people like him right now. Anything stick out to you? No Kyle Pitts on the slate yet, but overall, I think Kittle to hit his 4 minus 160. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, 160 is a pretty high number. Probably not going to take that bet. Probably just take the yards at minus 130. Because, I mean, if you look at, so that's 4 catches. What's his average, per catch? It's probably right around 10. So
12, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Okay, we'll move on to I'm excited about this game. The Browns hosting the Patriots. I think, I'm a Ramondre Stevenson owner in multiple leagues, so I am excited about this one. But anytime touchdown scores for this one, you got Nick Chubb. Like at this point, like you want to take a Nick Chubb and parlay it with another high odd to score a touchdown, and maybe you get some free money that way. You can see Ramondre Stevenson here minus 130. Kareem Hunt though plus 160. I kind of like that one. Maybe in Njoku, Amari Cooper. Interesting that Cooper and Njoku are the same. And then Jacoby Myers. Do you think lightning strikes twice in a row? Anything stick out here for the touchdowns?
Yeah, Amari Cooper's interesting at plus 230. I mean, he's been established now. He's had a couple of good weeks. And if they get behind and do have to throw the ball.
So there's a very distinct Amari Cooper home game trend right now. So his 3 home games, week 2, 3, and 5. Look at the targets.
It's crazy.
A touchdown in each home game, 2 100-yard games, 7 receptions in all 3 games plus. So he's going nuts at home. So that's something. I don't know if you're into superstition, but he looks pretty good at home. So I'm open to that. I think if this game could be kind of fun. I think if for the Browns, it's Chubb, it's Hunt, it's Njoku, Cooper. Those are the only bets you want to probably play with in terms of the whole slate of parlays and other props. For the Patriots, I don't think Harris is going to play. So Ramondre is probably the favorite to score a touchdown. It's probably Devontae Parker week or something crazy. Outside of that, I think I'm only interested in the Ramondre touchdown. Let's look at the passing props. They don't have Mac Jones listed in there yet. He's listed as questionable, but do you like any of these Jacoby numbers?
Yeah, I mean, you can't trust him to score 2 touchdowns now. Over 5.5. I mean, it's a pretty low number, but I think we're expecting kind of a ground and on both sides of the ball here, regardless of who's playing quarterback for the Patriots.
As far as rushing numbers here, Nick Chubb up there at 93.5, Ramondre at 80.5.
Wow.
Kareem Hunt, I like Kareem Hunt's been playing really well this year. So that one does intrigue me a little bit, but I'm probably more interested in the receptions. People are smashing the Ramondre Stevenson, not smashing, it's minus 130, but people are taking it 17.5. That's
pretty low number for Ramondre, isn't it?
That's an interesting number, yeah. Kareem Hunt 15.5. That's interesting. I do like Njoku at 36.5. Seems like low hanging fruit. I believe the Patriots have been pretty leaky to tight ends. They ranked 22nd here. They've allowed 5 touchdowns to the tight end position, so that's something of importance here. So I think that could be an interesting one. Otherwise, Cooper at 52.5. Are you taking that one? That one seems too low.
The 2 that immediately stuck out to me are Cooper at 52.5, Jacoby Myers at 49.5. Jacoby, I mean, he's such an underrated receiver.
What's his receptions at? They don't have Mac Jones listed as the starter yet, so we'll get more info on this. But I think we covered this well enough. I do like the Browns' top 2 receivers, Cooper and Njoku. Those just seem too low. But yeah, let's go dabble into a new game here. No, the Jets and the Packers. Packers favored to win by 7.5.
What do you think about that line, just off the cuff as a Packer fan?
It probably should be more like 5.5. But Packers at home, I think that's the ultimate factor there. And we've seen 2 really good games from Zach Wilson. So like in terms of due for kind of a frustrating game, but it's ultimately going to come down to, and I don't know, like, did you send me the stat or did I see this? I think it was, who's the guy? Warren Sharp put something out there. The Packers are the number 1 passing defense when teams do not use play action. When they use play action, they are 32nd. It's legit, like, complete opposites. So I'm not sure how often the Jets will use play action in this one, but that's probably a stat that a lot of the analytics people over there in New York have looked at. So with that in mind, Who do we like for touchdown odds? It's always an A.J. Dillon week for me. I think he's due. It's been 4 games and no touchdown. Aaron Jones, his home game splits are pretty ridiculous. I think he's the one. You could maybe take an Aaron Jones touchdown with a Nick Chubb touchdown in a parlay and see what happens there. That could be fun. A lot of Packer receivers here. Lazard, Cobb, Tunyon. What interests you from touchdown props in this one?
They're all pretty split there. I mean, I think if the Jets are scoring, Breece Hall 165. Yeah, he's the guy, man. I mean,
that's too low. That's insane.
It took him, 4 weeks to become the guy, and then last week we saw what he can do.
He should probably be up here by age. Like he should be like plus 125, plus 130. So that one's juicy.
Yeah, that's a good one. Is Dobbs going to get in the end zone?
Well, I'm interested to see who Sauce Gardner, like where he lines up most. Is he going to be more on Lazard? The Packers do a good job of moving their guys around, though, so I don't think he's going to be locked into one player the whole game. But Lazard, Dobbs, I expect both games. Dobbs hasn't scored in a while, but someone put out a cut-up reel of his New York Giants game. The dude was getting open, just Rodgers didn't have enough time to find him a lot. So if the Jets pass rush doesn't get home, we might see some big shots to Romeo Dobbs. And, of course, Christian Watson's not playing in this one, so it could be a nice Dobbs game. But I'm thinking Dillon gets on track. I think Jones gets on track, and then Breece. Those lean into the running backs, I think, in this one.
Yeah, when's the last time we saw a rookie receiver like Dobbs really kind of connect with Rodgers early? I mean, that year one, I think the Packers kind of have a stigma against year one receivers, but it seems like Dobbs is he's that dude.
It's what's been difficult though is there's never been an opportunity for a rookie receiver to really step in, because you think about the transition of going back to 2010, like when you had Jennings and you had baby Jordy Nelson and James, like those guys didn't have a chance because Greg Jennings was there, Donald Driver was there.
Yep.
Move on a little bit, then Jordy Nelson's the guy. We've never had the opportunity for a number one receiver out of the gate week one, and with Devontae Adams out, that's the opportunity. So it's a rare lightning striking kind of moment, but I think it's a Dobbs game. Looking at the passing props here, people are smashing Rodgers over 1.5. And then people hitting under on Zach Wilson, so that intrigues me. I don't feel good about the passing yards either way, but if Rodgers is going to throw 2 passing touchdowns, you got to probably Jones is a part of that as well. Lazard. So Jones, Lazard, Dobbs. Probably 2 of those guys score tomorrow. Yes?
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty good math there. And with Zach Wilson, if he's going to throw 1 touchdown, that means we don't trust anybody there to catch the touchdown. Looking at the rushing props here, Breece at 59.5. Does that do anything for you?
I mean, I think a Jets recipe to success is going to be through the ground. I mean, give Zach the easy ones. I mean, Green Bay's been, they're middle of the road.
But look at the yards, 562.
That's pretty high. I mean, yeah, they're limiting touchdowns, but the yards are they're probably bottom 10 in yards allowed. So
yep. So I think the leaning into the Breece Hall makes sense. We don't trust anybody else, I think. I think last week's game against the Giants for the Packers, they're going to make sure that they feed the running backs here. So I would expect double-digit carries for both Jones and Dillon. And again, Aaron Jones at home is kind of just a different animal. So I think he can hit it with 61 yards. He can get that in 10, 12 carries. He could get that in 2 carries, for all we know here. So I think leaning into the running backs is kind of where I want to be in terms of. Let's look at the receptions first. I want to set this up. A.J. Dillon, people are smashing the over 1.5. So is it Dillon week? Am I stupid, or is it Dillon week?
He's like you said, he's a touchdown at plus 125. I think we have to take that. He's got to score, and I mean, come on, 2 grabs, that's easy money.
They've kind of lost focus with him the last couple of weeks. They've kind of let him fall through the cracks, if you will. But I'm looking at Lazard here too at 3.5. People are taking that one. People are hitting Breece, Carter. People are hitting the over on Cobb and the over on Tunyon. Moore, Wilson, Corey Davis. No one trusts any of these Jets receivers. Let's look at the yards. Anything stick out for the yards here?
I just don't think anyone trusts Zach Wilson,
Right.
So it's hard to really until we see what he does and who he kind of meshes with, who becomes his one. I mean, between Moore, Wilson, you kind of have two potential number ones there. Corey Davis lingers. Hard to trust anybody but Breece Hall. So I think kind of just leaning into Breece Hall is kind of the way to go if you want to bet Jets.
So I like looking at this chart because it kind of shows where everyone's weak. The Jets are pretty stingy against they're all slightly red here, like a slight pink color. And the Packers, for as much crap as they get, pretty good for fantasy numbers. They've been playing really solid here. But I guess the running back would be one of their weak spots, though. So I think we covered this one pretty well here. Nothing really sticks out for the yards. We'll move on to, let's see what's next here. The Jags and the Colts. We have news this morning. No Nyheim Hines, no Jonathan Taylor. So I'm assuming there's probably going to be not as many props up in this game here.
Yeah, probably not.
I guess this is your last chance to get a Deion Jackson plus 200. Hey, what do you think about this? 200?
Yeah, I mean, plus 200. That's against a pretty bad run defense. I think I'm tapping that one for sure.
I want to look at this before we start any game. So the Colts allowing tight end points. So Evan Ingram's in play, and then the Jags look like they're giving up running back points. I think you kind of want to lean into Deion Jackson this weekend, especially if they haven't updated the numbers here. Now's the time to do it. In terms of touchdown odds, if the Colts are going to score 2 touchdowns in this game, you probably ought to assume it's Deion Jackson. And then I think Pittman's due. He really hasn't looked like a stud since week 1. He didn't play week 2 against the Jags, so I'm open to that. And anybody else that we should be on our radar. I do like Alec Pierce. He's starting to rev it up, and it's the year of the rookie wide receiver. So he's a sleeper for sure.
Yeah. Pierce is interesting. I mean, he's playing well. He's starting, a couple of mental mistakes, but playing good. He looks good. I mean, Matt Ryan, he'll look his way. But I think Deion Jackson, Philip Lindsay, I don't trust to really kind of be the guy. I think Deion's the guy near the goal line.
As far as the Jags offense, Travis Etienne's been kind of beating Robinson in snaps and just overall opportunity the last 2 games. So
Etienne's due for a touchdown. I don't think he has one yet on the year.
I think he's due for his first career touchdown. Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't have a single touchdown yet, so I think I wouldn't be surprised if it was this week.
Yep.
And if it's not this week, I'm definitely gonna come back next week. He's gonna score.
Did you see Doug Peterson's quote for Christian Kirk?
Not.
3 targets is unacceptable. He should be up in the 9, 10, 11 targets per game.
Wow. I mean,
so he did score 2 touchdowns against this Colts team in week 2.
Yes, he did.
If someone's going to catch a touch, like Lawrence is going to throw a touchdown, whether it's to Kirk or Engram or one of the receivers. I'm open to it, but Christian Kirk would be my favorite for the passing touchdown.
Ingram's plus 340 to score. Did you see that? Do you have any interest in that? A little deep shot, Evan Engram.
He's due. He hasn't scored one yet this year. I think last week's usage
was promising.
10 targets last week, 6 for 69. So
yeah.
It's not consistent at all, but
yeah, I mean, week 2 against Indy, 8 targets, 7 for 46. I mean, those are target numbers where, you got to think there's touchdown potential there when a guy's getting 8 to 10 targets.
If I told you can start this tight end and he's going to get 8 targets, you're going to use him, right? You want that opportunity. So if you don't have Mark Andrews or Travis Kelce, you're starting the 8 targets.
Yes.
But let's move on to the passing prop. I don't know why they don't have Trevor Lawrence in here. Do you care about Matt Ryan over 1.5 under? Probably not.
I can't trust Matt Ryan.
Deion at 42.5. Get it in now. Get it in.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't have anything in this game here. So I like Alec Pierce. People are smashing Pittman. Alec Pierce at 41.5. You can get that in 3 catches.
Oh, what's the deal with the Jags? I mean, Lawrence was healthy from what I know.
Let's take a look at this. So I have a practice report link here. Maybe they're waiting to see about Marvin and Zay.
Weird.
Because Marvin didn't practice. Well, he showed up on the practice report Friday. Zay limited. Maybe they're just waiting for those guys. It is strange. They should have a baseline number for Lawrence and those guys. But whatever. We'll move on to another game here. Vikings and Dolphins. We're going to see a rookie 7th round quarterback start, Skyler Thompson. Touchdown props here. They're leaning into Dalvin Cook. Justin Jefferson, of course, always a good bet for a touchdown. If a Dolphin scores, it's Raheem Mostert probably.
Yeah. What do we think about Skyler Thompson? What do we think he can do with this offense? I mean, Mostert was the guy last week.
A lot of the people that I like their opinions in fantasy football. They kind of like Skyler Thompson. They think he can actually be kind of exciting. So I don't think it's going to be doom and gloom. And honestly, if you squint, it might look like a Teddy Bridgewater type offense. Like, it might not be terrible. I think last week he didn't play. I mean, imagine just being thrown into the fire,
That's tough.
right away, and now you get a full week to prep. I mean, 19 of 33, 166 yards and a pick. He moved the ball, so we'll see.
And Mostert's good to go. Is he confirmed to be playing?
He said on Wednesday or Thursday that he's going to play. They're just preparing him for like a big 20-touch game, something like that. I could see that coming.
Yeah.
So I'm interested there. Again, Cook and Jefferson. Otherwise, I don't really want to dabble with Thielen or Irv Smith or any kind of junk like that. Sneaky pick. Vikings defense, special teams. Score a touchdown this week. Rookie going up against a rookie quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, plus 400.
Passing props, are you taking Kirk over 1.5? Probably.
Yeah. Probs.
I don't know if the Vikings are going to have to throw the ball a ton. But over 260 seems about right. But again, the 150 or the 1.5 touchdown props feel good. Raheem Mostert 60.5. Is there going to be a game script opportunity for him to hit that? He probably needs 12 to 15 carries to do so.
Yeah, that's a tough number.
Do you like the game script for Cook then? 76.5.
Yeah, 76 is. Those are big numbers, but Cook is.
So Miami's green against everything is go for Miami. And then the Vikings. Where are the Vikings? Right here. The Vikings kind of leaky against QB and running back, kind of whatever against wide receiver and tight end. So I don't know if that makes us feel anything. Receiving yards, I mean, JJ at 87.5. That seems to be a pretty fair number for him to hit that. What do you do with Waddle and Tyreek? Like, you have to play him this week, but Waddle's been not so great the last 2 weeks. So I understand. Like, I think I'd be more open to benching Waddle this week. I think you continue to use Tyreek Hill, but I just don't have confidence in a lot. People are taking the under on Waddle 50.5.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
It's kind of even for Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, we just don't know. I mean, Skyler, full games. He got a full week of practice. He knows he's going to be the starter. So it's kind of like, do they try and, bring in some of the more flavor of the offense that they want, or do they try and dumb it down for Skyler?
I think this might be a big Dalvin Cook game.
Yeah, I think. I mean, that's kind of how I see it. I can see some turnovers, favorable field position. Vikings just kind of manage the game clock.
Do we care about anyone's receptions? They got JJ at 6.5. People are smashing the Irv Smith, so maybe we should look at his receiving number. If he hits 3 catches, he's only at 29.5. So something to think about.
I mean,
otherwise, people are hitting the
Gesicki.
What?
Interesting.
All right, whatever.
Where's Durham Smith at? Durham Smith was banged up, but I think he is playing. So
I wanted to. They don't have. Where is it? Yeah, people are smashing the Thompson interception here. So
yeah,
if you want to play that way, you can do that. But let's move on to. We haven't had a good game yet here. The Bengals and the Saints. Did you see the injury report for the Saints?
Doesn't look good.
No. Let's go to that.
It ain't pretty. Whew.
Deontay Hardy, Jarvis Landry, Michael Thomas all out. Marshawn Lattimore out. Peyton Turner out. So 5. I don't know about Peyton Turner, but for sure, these top 4 guys are all heavy pieces of that team.
And Olave is
questionable here. Olave questionable. Winston, we don't like. They've already ruled Andy Dalton's going to play, but this is just not looking good for the Saints. So with that in mind, and also we don't know. They didn't rule him out. I almost hope they do, so I'm not tempted to play him. But it's just the fact that they had to go and get him limited on Friday. There's the shit pot.
Give him a couple. This has got to be a Jamar Chase smash spot, right? Yeah. He has not had the big one yet. He's been getting covered with targets.
Where is New Orleans?
They're 10 right there. They got to
okay.
Look at that.
But look at they're green against wideout.
Yeah.
And the Bengals. Why can't I read this? Wow, Cincinnati.
Stingy.
All right, so they're allowing tight end. God dang it, it's Taysom Hill week. Again.
Well, Taysom is kind of unique in the respect that he's not really a tight end. You know, when he's out there, he's playing freaking Wildcat. So,
all right, this is our first pop, lock, and drop of the week. Jamar Chase touchdown.
Yes.
He's back in Louisiana. Joe Burrow back in Louisiana. These guys.
He might score 2.
You might see a 10 for 140 and 2 touchdown game from Jamar Chase this weekend.
It's gonna be a big one.
So this is one we're going to feature on the website. We'll probably get that up there for sure. They're listing T. Higgins here. That making me think, man. Making me think. So as far as the Bengals, it's Mixon and Chase. Those are the only touchdown bets I'd consider. For the Saints, Andy Dalton been pretty good for Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
And last week, man, he just nipped all the touchdowns. Like Taysom Hill just nipped all the touchdowns. So I would expect, and Kamara balled out. He had 190 plus yards or something all purpose. So if you're betting a Saints touchdown, that's probably where I would go. Taysom Hill down at plus 225. Does that tempt you?
It seems like a sucker bet, you know.
All right, this is what you do. You do a separate Taysom Hill bet, and you do a separate Alvin Kamara bet. You're going to hit one of them.
Yeah, small profit if it's Kamara, bigger profit if it's Hill.
Yeah. So, and you probably have a good chance of hitting both, honestly. That would not surprise me. If Olave does play, plus 190, I'm cool with it. If he does not play, Mark Ingram, Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara, that's like the offense. So, I don't know. We'll see. Let's move on to passing props here. Randy Dalton, 1.5. People are smashing that under. I want to smash the over on Joe Burrow, man. 1.5. That's
1.5. That seems, and 110.
What? People are taking the under at 120.
I think that's a good line. I mean, Joe Burrow's gonna have a game.
If Joe Burrow at 252, I'd rather take the 2 touchdowns. I think.
Are they forgetting that it's in New Orleans?
I get it. It's New Orleans. It's a tough place to play.
Yeah,
but it's Joe. We're talking.
I think we're going to see a lot of Joey B. Orange out there in the.
Sure. Yeah. A lot of people showing up. A lot of people showing up for the Bengals. Rushing props, nothing really sticks out to me here. Everyone seems to be pretty fairly priced.
I'll put it this way: we're going to see a lot of Joey B. Purple.
Sure. Yep. LSU jerseys. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing.
They care a lot about college football down there.
As far as the receiving props, nothing is sticking out. But again, if we expect Jamar Chase to do Jamar Chase things, this is the week. And with a potentially banged up T. Higgins, this could just be a target fest for Jamar Chase. So that's the one that we like there.
If Olave plays in 60 yards, he's pretty.
People are taking the over on Olave 4.5. So maybe that's looking pretty good. People are taking the under Jamar Chase 6.5.
A lot. I mean, it's catches. I could see him with the 6. The 6 for $120 and a touchdown. It kind of seems like. I mean, his targets are there. I mean, the targets are there. We can't.
Well, people are taking their safeties and sitting on Jamar Chase. Yeah. So if anything's he's probably more likely to hit the 6.5 receptions. Honestly, because you look at this, he's hit it twice, 4, 6, and 5. Again, this game was the game no T. Higgins for most of that game. And then last week, no T. Higgins for most of that game too. So there's a trend here. If T. Higgins if we get ruling that Higgins is not going to play, you want to go collect pretty much all the overs on Jamar Chase, I think.
You can't cash these out early, I believe, but you can cash out like money line or the game starts. I don't think you can once you put a prop in, I don't think you can cash it out. But if you could almost take all the Jamar Chase overs, and then if T. Higgins plays, kind of cash them out.
Yeah.
Because if he's ruled out, I have to assume these Jamar Chase lines are going to move, in favor of him hitting the overs.
Well, I just even if Higgins plays, do you put him in your lineups for fantasy after last week?
Yeah, can you trust it? I
don't know. It makes me nervous. That's for
sure. The fact
he
didn't play the fact that he wasn't practicing makes me think it's all right, well, he needs another week. But if we need him, we'll use him.
He might just be active again and used sparingly. But either way, we'll move on to another game here. We got maybe about 10, 15 minutes left in the show. We'll go quickly here. Ravens, Giants, touchdown props. Of course, Barkley, he's probably the only Giant that we can actually bet on. If you want to take a Daniel Jones rushing prop, I think that's fair game. No Rashad Bateman. So Mark Andrews, sign me up. Devin Duvernay playing really, really well. He looked good the other night. I think he might be a fantasy like PPR mainstay as like a wide receiver 3 flex for us going forward. But for me, I would probably take the Mark Andrews plus 100. Any of these Ravens ones you like more than Mark Andrews?
And what's interesting is the Ravens are going to probably put up 3 scores on the Giants. What do we think?
So I have this chart, and I should probably update this. I did this maybe on Wednesday or Thursday. The Ravens 25
points. So we're talking 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns and 2 field goals roughly. So Mark Andrews, sign me up for one of those. Maybe Lamar hasn't ran for one in a while. It's been since week 3. Okay, so he's due for a rushing touchdown. I think that's probably in play. Let's actually look at what the Giants defense, man, stingy.
Pretty decent.
Stingy. And you look at the Ravens. Ravens up here. Weesh.
Yeah, what happened, man? That's crazy.
The Dolphins.
Yeah, that one game. So.
Use a lot. But yeah, for touchdown props, I think that's probably pretty fair. As far as passing props, people are taking the Daniel Jones under 1.5. People are taking the over Lamar Jackson 1.5. I'm open to the Lamar Jackson plus 1.5. That makes sense to me. I don't care about the passing yards. Do we care about interceptions? Should we put an interception one up on the prop shop this week? If I had to, right now, gun to your head, one player that is guaranteed to throw an interception this week, who is it?
And the first one that comes to mind is Skyler Thompson. That one's been smashed, hasn't it?
I got one for you.
You got one?
Zach Wilson.
Oh, there we go.
On the road at Lambeau. I think Green Bay's
Marcus Mariota.
I like that's a good one too. We'll find an interception prop to put on the list this week, and maybe put one on there for you guys to consider. But maybe we start kind of just broadening our horizons, and maybe we get some different bets in there. But I think the interception one is pretty fun. Matt Ryan comes to mind as well. Sorry.
Frankly, plus odds on a Lamar interception against a pretty good Giants defense. Lamar's pretty, and he likes to just kind of whip a ball around every once in a while.
Dude, he's throwing a lot of interceptions.
It's plus odds.
You did it. You found it.
Plus odds.
All right. We're putting it on there. Lamar Jackson to throw a pick, and it's probably going to be targeting Mark Andrews. So if we get bonus for that, that'd be cool. But we'll put that one on there. I think I feel pretty good about that. The man has thrown 5 interceptions in 5 games. Granted, he has scored 12 touchdowns, but that's a lot. Wow. Okay, that's a good snag there. The rushing receiving props here, I don't feel good about any of these. Saquon Barkley probably would be the best one to hit his prop, but I don't know. He did hurt his shoulder last week, so that does make me hesitate a little bit. I don't know if he's going to get the volume needed for that. In terms of receiving props, nothing sticks out. Mark Andrews is pretty high at 70.5. People are taking the over on that. That might be an under spot for me. 70.5 is kind of high.
So this is because for me, interceptions are fluky, right? Very fluky. The Ravens lead the league with interceptions, but their defense is bad. Mm-hmm. The Giants have not yet gotten a pick, so this is the correlation colliding here.
Everything's on point.
The variance is lining up for a Lamar interception.
I'm for it. No Giants interceptions all year. Wow. I thought their defense played really well last week against the Packers. That was my first time watching a full Giants game. But anything stick out at these reception totals here? People are taking the over on Demarcus Robinson. Why? I don't know. People are taking the Mark Andrews over 5.5. Saquon Barkley 3.5. I'm not super excited about this one from a prop perspective. I think it's more touchdowns and that potential Lamar Jackson INT.
Yeah,
what about Duvernay?
I'm really curious to see what
3.5.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they do with J.K. Dobbins this week. 2, 3.5 is probably a lock with no Rashad.
I mean, he caught 5 for 54, 7 targets last week. I'm willing to smack that one. That one's plus 1.5.
Plus odds? Interesting.
I'm willing to take that one. That one's a good spot for
Devin. I think the Giants are just a little stingier than what people think. They've actually, you know what? The Giants have shut down number 1 receivers. But I wouldn't really classify Duvernay as a number 1 receiver. I think Andrews is really their number 1 option. So.
Right. And Duvernay is a security. Like, he is the quick out, when there's nothing to throw to, he throws it to him right away.
Yeah,
the Giants are pretty stingy, but I think you could see if anything hits for that, it's going to be his receptions. He could be 5 for 42 easily.
Yeah,
nothing big, but he could be a security blanket on this tough Giants defense. But let's move on. Again, we got about maybe under 10 minutes left here. Cardinals Seahawks. Do we want to go anything into the Rams Panthers? I just want to click on a couple touchdown props. Cooper Kupp always. Darrell Henderson week. I think that's pretty low hanging fruit this week. And then of course McCaffrey. I'm not feeling ballsy enough to count any of these other ones. Maybe if you're feeling ballsy though, Rams defensive touchdown. PJ Walker making a start. That's probably where I would lay. Anything to add on that one?
No, pretty straightforward there.
I do think we should spend maybe 2 minutes on this Cardinals Seahawks game. So I think
this could be a high score.
Benjamin, man, he's a must-start fantasy player this week. Kenneth Walker, probably going to see him score another touchdown. I think Marquise is in play. Metcalf and Lockett, man, I don't know why they're so low, but I think this is one of those situations where you take the Metcalf separately, you take the Lockett, and one of them should hit, and there's a good chance that both of them do hit. So I think as far as this game, Murray just hasn't been rushing enough for me to care about his rushing prop touchdown, so he'll probably get one this week.
It's picking up, but yeah, he got close last week.
Let's look at do we care about the passing numbers here? People are smashing Geno Smith. People are taking Geno Smith over 1.5, and Metcalf and Lockett are so low with their odds.
I think you pick Metcalf Lockett. I mean, maybe you kind of dive in to see what the matchup is there, but just, you pick one of those guys.
And then the passing numbers, I don't feel like strongly one way or the other here. What if we look at this chart real quick? So the Arizona Cardinals, very bad against quarterbacks and the tight end. And look at the Seahawks are right next to them. Seahawks giving up quarterback, running back, and tight end points.
What's our Will Dissly TD? That's it. That's the one.
270. Noah Fant also in play too.
Yeah, Fant's been slowly but surely,
Yeah, he's been picking it up.
Yeah.
Let's look at the rushing receiving numbers here. Benjamin 61.5. I don't know if I trust that enough. I do like Kenneth Walker at 60.5. I think that feels pretty. I mean, he's going to get the ball 15 times, so that's 4 yards carry. That seems very doable for him.
You think they're just gonna? I think they're gonna feed Kenneth, man.
15 to 20 carries minimum.
Yeah.
Essentially, his role reminds me almost exactly like Dameon Pierce, where he's going to lead the team in carries, 15 to 20 carries, and then if he can just get 1 or 2 catches per game, I think that's what's going to deliver for him. In terms of receptions or receiving yards, Marquise Brown at 69.5. People are liking that one. Will Dissly, there's your Will Dissly, 19.5. Lockett at about 70. Metcalf at about 70. If you had to pick one, which one? Metcalf, Lockett?
So my nugget is that Arizona, they've started running zone at one of the highest clips in the league. Lockett, top 5 receiver against zone in the league.
Okay.
So I think we're going to see a big Lockett week.
Well, then 5.5, man. People are hitting that pretty easily here. People are taking the under on DK, so the math here is on your side. People are taking the over on Noah Fant, 2.5.
Yeah.
Noah Fant at 26.5 yards. Okay, that's interesting. Maybe he's developing some momentum here. Benjamin, people are taking the over on 3.5.
It's kind of interesting. So between Fant and Dissly, I think we've seen like a kind of a split almost, and they have but the people like the Fant over and they don't like the Dissly over. So that's
Well, Disley's kind of like he's a one-trick pony. It's tight end or not. It's touchdown or nothing.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm excited about this game. I think you want to try and find a prop that you like in this game. Who's throwing a pick in this game? Math says Gino. I'm going to say both. I'm going to say both throw a pick. If you like these.
Yeah, I would maybe like to go look at the Panthers Rams. What are Stafford throwing a pick? Or PJ Walker. I mean, PJ Walker's probably throwing a pick. Right? It's probably like minus 200 on him throwing a pick.
They only have PJ in there. 1.5. They got it at
1.5.
Oh man, poor PJ. I don't know why they don't have Stafford in there. That's weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
All right, let's get to the main event, and then we'll kind of sign off here for the day. Where am I? Did I go too far?
Yeah, you went too far.
Bills Chiefs, our final non-primetime game here. Touchdown scorers. I'm assuming the Bills are going to score 3 or 4 times. I'm assuming the Chiefs are going to score 2, 3, maybe 4 times.
We're getting plus odds on a Gabe Davis touchdown. That
feels good. Is it Dawson Knox week? He's yet to score a touchdown all season. He's healthy. He was lifted off the injury report this week, plus 200. I like his involvement. I think he could be a sneaky play at plus 200. What do you think about MVS, plus 220? He's looked like the best Chiefs receiver the last couple games.
Yes. He's kind of almost oddly enough turned into kind of like what we thought Juju would be. Almost that like safety blankie. He's kind of like turning into that, when Mahomes is scrambling, looking for someone to get to, he kind of goes to MVS. It's interesting watching that game last week.
I'm definitely intrigued with MVS. Sure, low-hanging fruit, Kelsey Diggs is pretty nice. I think you probably want to take Gabe Davis at plus 110. I mean, he did have that 4-touchdown game in the playoffs. He's probably going to be chomping at the bit there to get that. Josh Allen rushing touchdown. Like, this game means more to anyone. Like, this is Josh Allen's like revenge game. Like he wants to go scorched earth in this game. So Allen to rush a touchdown, I think is an interesting call. McKinnon.
Yeah, McKinnon. So if we're looking at Clyde and Clyde's plus whatever he is, last week every single high value touch went to Jerick McKinnon.
So maybe we'll look at his individual props here. Rushing props, McKinnon 16.5. People are taking that. Mahomes, people are expecting him to have to scramble. Interesting.
It's hard to take unders on this one, right? Like where did I don't. This is a game where you just want points, right? You gotta.
I think I feel best about the receiving numbers here. McKinnon at 12.5, man.
Seems like a lock.
And no one's really
way too low.
No one's taking it. Where Stephon Diggs 87.5, Kelsey 78.5. Where's Big Gabe? Gabe Davis at 55.5. That seems a little low. I mean, he can hit that in 3 or 4 catches.
No, 1 catch.
Dawson Knox 31.5. He can hit that in 3 or 4 catches himself. MVS 45.5. I think that one I am into.
Sky Moore, we haven't seen it. McCole Hardman, just not guys. Juju, just just not those guys. I think they don't really have a true one. Spreading the ball a lot. Justin Watson's 3.5.
Getting a catch today, tomorrow.
It just takes 1.
All right, receptions. People are smashing the Clyde Edwards one. People are smashing the Devin Singletary as well as the Gabe Davis. Juju, people are smashing 4.5. What?
I'll pass. I'll take the under.
Yeah.
I think they're just expecting a high volume of passing, so that's
probably 40, 45 passing attempts from Mahomes. We should probably look at that, actually.
Jerick McKinnon, 2.5. They are fading. Interesting. I think they're just expecting a lot of Clyde Edwards-Helaire in this game, but
McKinnon's the third down back.
I think value. So maybe I'm not going to take any of the yardage overs on McKinnon, but that touchdown is calling my name in the goal line. We've seen Clyde time and time again. Just he'll have 4 carries inside the 1, and he'll have 0 yards. It's just not getting it in there. Maybe as Isaiah Pacheco gets his touchdown.
I do want to look at the passing props real quick. People are taking the under on Josh Allen, 2.5 touchdowns.
Both of them. Interesting. Who's getting 3 touchdowns?
Allen.
Yeah, but do we think it's going to be like 2 throwing, 1 rushing for Allen? Like Why don't you get to total touchdowns?
Well, they have the Bills scoring 28.5.
Yeah. And we have to remember the Chiefs defense is they're just as bad as the Lions. They're one of the worst. They are.
Bright green.
Smashing quarterbacks.
You're giving the Bills 3 touchdowns for sure. If you're going to set a Bills line for touchdowns, it's probably 3.5 on this one.
Is Devin Singletary? Oh, is this gonna be like a James Cook sneaky spot or something? I don't know. I feel like the running backs, we're not like everyone's glossing over the running backs, but Devin Singletary or someone's gonna hit their overs.
Anyone throwing an interception in this one?
I mean, it's
40.5 attempts.
It's a big number. Yeah, I mean, so that's what it doesn't. I don't understand. People are taking Clyde numbers.
I don't know. Either way, I think this is the game you want to watch tomorrow. So try and find some props in this one. I think I don't know if do we have any time? I don't know if you care about the Eagles Cowboys. If we just want to throw a couple mentions in there.
Yeah, we can dabble.
Anything loaded? But
well, the problem is we don't know if Dak's playing, right?
It sounds like he's not playing. Jerry Jones said week 7 or I think he said week 8 was an ideal spot, but. For Eagles, I mean, Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown makes sense. AJ Brown's due for a big one. I like Goddard all the time.
All the time. I mean, Cowboys are definitely a more stingy. I mean, they do, if they're going to give up, it's kind of the receiver. So I think AJ Brown's going to kind of do some muscle, and I really hope they put Diggs on him because he'll burn Diggs for a touchdown. And then he'll hit his over in like 2 plays.
But we'll just go with the touchdowns on this one. I don't think they're going to have everything in there for what we need. Yeah, they don't. Well, they do. AJ Brown 67.5. People are leaning into that one. I'm cool with that.
Goddard 45.5. That seems like a pretty fair number.
People are leaning into the over here on AJ Brown receptions as well. Goddard, people are taking the under 4.5.
Yeah, 4.5 seems kind of high.
Under on
3.5. Smash. The CD's got that weird injury now, so like, what's the deal there?
Tony Pollard.
So I'm surprised they have.
I'm
surprised they have these numbers in, but they don't have like Matt Stafford, Trevor Lawrence, but they have
Cooper Rush and CD Lamb numbers.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty in this one on the Dallas side of the ball. I think on the Eagles side of the ball, I think we're going to see, Hurts is going to want to. This is like a huge game. It's in Philly against Dallas. They have a chance to stay undefeated. Dallas is 4-1. Like this is a Hurts prime time, and I think we're going to see a big Hurts game. You're going to have a good time Sunday night.
I'm thinking that it's the Philly defense that might steal the show. They might, especially if CeeDee Lamb's banged up and if they can't throw the ball, and if they're getting pressure, like they're not going to be able to run the ball. I don't think. I think the Eagles pretty solid defense right now. They do allow wide receiver points, but it's coming up Philly. I think that's where you want to play your bets. But fun game, Sunday Night Football. We'll finish with that one. I don't know if there's anything Monday night that we want to look into.
Did we miss the Charger game? Chargers.
We did miss the Charger game. Well, that's Monday Night Football.
Oh, that's Monday night.
We'll take a slap at it real quick.
Yeah, I got it.
It's Mike Williams night. Keenan Allen probably not going to play. Austin Eckler 160 to score.
He's been hot. I mean, man, after those first 3 weeks, people were thinking
Mike Williams plus 130. Yeah,
nice
Eckler was such a good buy low opportunity. It's really always a sudden game for me. If you want the dirtiest of dirty plays, it's Latavius Murray plus 270 score touchdown. I think Melvin Gordon's kind of they're frustrated with him.
Yeah.
And the head coach is even saying, I'm excited to see Latavius Murray on Monday Night
Football. And Boone's a little banged up, is he not?
He was able to get a full day of practicing on Friday. And Melvin was limited on Friday. So I think you might see this offense kind of morph into a 3-headed monster. You're probably going to see Melvin Gordon get enough work to be useful, but I think Boone is probably their preferred big play, kind of third down passing back. And Latavius might be the goal line short yardage.
Dirty Latavius.
Quarter. So interesting game here. We're waiting for the health of a couple players in this one, but the Broncos, do they score a touchdown this week?
I think they do. Rushing touchdown.
It's Carlin week. It's always
all right. We'll see.
What about this one? Chargers defensive touchdown.
Xander Horvath.
Russell Wilson plus 650 to score.
Oh man, that's crazy.
I'll tell you what, Justin Herbert hasn't It's been people forget about the rib injury. We're not too far removed from that massive rib injury. He hasn't rushed for a touchdown yet this year. He's been hitting 4 or 5 the last couple seasons, so that's a sneaky one if you want to play with that. But
yeah, I think maybe one more week and then I'll start tapping that one.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, especially if he doesn't get it this week, we'll look at it. But that's going to do it for today's show. We got things to do, places to be. So, Jesse, thanks for hanging out with us today. We'll get some props put on the website for you guys to look at. Any final thoughts before we get out of here for the day?
Should be a fun one. Sunday Night Football is going to be an interesting game. I mean, we got Bills Chiefs, that nooner. They did us dirty with the nooner on that one, but we'll enjoy it nonetheless.
And again, we'll check the link in the description if you guys want to check out the props that we have selected. I think we're going to do our top 5 bets, and we'll probably put some up there to consider. So check out the link and enjoy the football, guys. We'll see you in a future video. Peace.